one of the first flowers I saw was Queen Anne's lace. And there was like Queen Anne's lace everywhere. I just kept seeing fields and fields and fields of Queen Anne's lace. And I was like, wow, okay. Everybody's obviously needing to focus more on their third eye and to be able to see things more clearly. And
Hello and welcome to HolisticCircle podcast, Spiritual Conversation. My name is Philipp Kobald. We are reaching out to people who are passionate about spreading light, love, and joy and flowers, and I'm happy to have for the second time with me, Tammy Wood. Welcome and welcome back, Tammy.
oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, I just told you that I'm so super happy to have you back again. I actually love when guests check in from time to time. It's nice to meet new people all the time, but it's also lovely to reconnect and to see how things have developed. And for our viewers, Tammy was here last year in some moment. I'm sure you can go down and look at the last video where we talked a lot about her background, her story, many interesting things. I think it was even a hurricane after time and all kind of crazy stuff was going on. And now today we can move further. So if you're interested and if you want to know more about her work, so please go back. And so we don't have to do it all over again, but a quick introduction, who you are and what you do, definitely, because a lot of new people will be watching, if you'd be so kind.
Absolutely. So I'm Tammy Wood, and I am a yoga instructor and herbalist, and I also make a flower essence line with botanicals, and I've been doing this now since 2016. And actually, I started doing it before then, but, I was doing it for friends and family more so than anybody else. And I use pretty much Appalachian flowers with the wood botanical flower essences. My weeds, my herbs, that's what calls to me. That's where the spiritual message comes through. And so finally, I have created a website now, and the website is called Appalachian Feel Good. And Appalachian Feel Good is for herbal and yoga excursions. But I also offer Appalachian goods to people as well, because I'm trying to support the community, and also I'm trying to offer fair pay. That's kind of what got me into this path, is because I was frustrated with trying to teach yoga and do herbal classes and not getting fair pay. And the people I'd be working for would be making quadruple what I was making, and I was the one that was doing the work. And I was like, this just doesn't feel right. And so I created this company with good intentions to help the community and to get more healing out there. But this company is more about feeling good and having fun. I am not trying to make it heavy. I think we're already in heavy times, and right now I think it's important for us to be light. And of course, wellness is always important, and promoting that is something I've always done. But I think fun and laughter is the best medicine of all.
Okay, well, there's a lot going on. So let's bring our audience who first time meet you to the plate. I know that you've been working in a company nearby who's doing similar things with essences, but you already had there your own idea. So let us a little bit for people who don't maybe are so familiar with the whole magic around essences or the alchemy of the nature, all of these things. Can you a little bit bring us to the table? I know that you like to specifically work with flowers, but checked your website. I think now you're working with other substances as well, if I read this correctly, or you're still exclusively on flower power.
Well, I am offering something very unique with the Wood Botanical Flower Essence line, where I'm letting people create their own. And so I have like almost 100 flowers to choose from. But what's cool about it is, I know traditionally people are used to flower essences being in brandy. I'm also offering options of colloidal gold and shiso. And the shiso, if you're not familiar with, is perilla. It's this beautiful pink, plant that has a very pungent kick to it. And it has preservative qualities, but it also has this really amazing undertone of carrying and amplifying. And so I absolutely love that for the flower essences. And I put it in vinegar. And so the shiso is a vinegar option for those who don't want alcohol. And then there's the colloidal gold that we discussed in the last episode. But to recap on that, colloidal gold is for the mind, the body, the spirit. It's been used for many, many, for a long time. And it originally was used for depression and enhancing the IQ, but then they found that it's also good for pain management. So I've been really energetically drawn to this because I'm into energetic medicine, and with my previous jobs, I have worked with colloidal gold for about 15 years, and I just saw the effects that it had on others and just was really blown away. And I thought it was the perfect match for flower essences. So, yes, I am offering
And it goes
lots
back
of
into
options.
alchemy, right? It goes
Yes.
straight back into Middle Age alchemy and beyond. So that's
Yeah.
very important to understand. It's a powerful thing. And of course, vinegar, we discussed already, also has a lot of more power than people realize these days. They're using it maybe a little bit in a salad. And some people are using it, especially in Europe, for cleaning. Or actually in Europe, a lot of people are using it in the washing machine when they wash their clothing. Instead of using chemicals to make the fiber more soft, they just take a little bit of vinegar. There's no smell, nothing at all. It has the same effect. So actually a lot of people in Europe are trying to reduce chemicals in the washing machine with children anyway. They just take a little bit of vinegar, for example. That's just one of the many applications. But historically speaking, vinegar was the king in the town, because even in Victorian times England, people were not drinking water, way too dangerous. So they a little bit put vinegar inside and make it more safe. And the more we go back, the more powerful vinegar is. So it makes a lot of sense that you reconnect with the very old ways. That's all we discussed, I think, already last time. But let's a little bit come back to a question. I don't know if I asked it last time. I will ask it again. Natural healing, there's always some kind of a debate. I would like to get your take before we move further. Do you think it's about the essence itself, it's the flower and the power within, the chemical structure, or do you think it's just the vibrations that do the healing? Because I think for me, this is a very interesting element about natural healing. If you're just looking at the vibration and if they're coming from color, sound, flowers, wherever they come from, that's the actual healing power. Or do you believe it's the chemicals as well?
I believe in both, honestly. I feel like everything is created in its divinity and that it's already got that structure in it, just like our DNA, and that it's a blueprint that's in flowers and plants and, in us. I mean, it goes on and on because everything is created in this beautiful way. But vibration, obviously, is how we all live and survive. And I think we touched on this on the last episode as well, because vibration is everything. And that's what's so beautiful about these flowers, is that they all have this specific vibration that they carry with them that can help us all, that we're not tapping into enough, which is, well, we're not aware of it because these things that are unseen, people have a hard time accepting. And with vibration, that is one thing that I've seen that people don't quite grasp because it's not right in their face. It's something you have to actually take time out to feel and be present with and remove yourself from all the stimulants that we have coming at us constantly to actually be able to connect with these things, because the divine has created things for us in a way that we can not only feel it, but there's the doctrine of signatures. And I think we briefly talked on that last time, where something looks a certain way and it acts and does a certain thing. Well, that is all trying to get our attention to tell us that this plant is good for this issue. And I mean, like bleeding heart, for example, because of it looking like a heart, it is heart medicine. It helps heal the heart. It helps heal that vibration in the heart when you've had a broken heart or you've experienced lots of grief. And everybody has gone through these emotions and these mental states, and we need assistance with that. And that's what I love about the flowers and the essences, and is the fact that it's subtle. It's very subtle, but it's working so powerful and on such a deep level in us. And we just have to believe and put our intentions behind that, because our vibration is equally as important as the substance that we're trying to take in, because the flowers are here wanting to heal us. And I always pay attention what comes up around me, what is flourishing every year, because I also look at that for the collective. It's like, okay, what is everybody needing this year? What is the plant of the year? And that tells me a lot of the state of the world. That's been my go-to for a long time on how I, look at life and connect with the divine and nature to see what it has to say to me. And we just have to listen.
I will come back to that in a second because this is something that I am interested in. But let me quick come to this point because that's why I asked this question that I asked. For me, I like to go for this to my head and just see how crazy people are. They think they're rational. They think they're academics or whatever. And when we talk about natural medicine, and I study natural medicine, so it's very important to me. And people give you a couple of explanations. You gave one, that the shape of the flower, the shape of whatever, or the color indicates how it might be helping in healing. And that most probably is the case for a couple of things, but definitely not for all of the things. And then the main explanation from the academic world is, it's just trial and error. For thousands of years, all those shamans or whatever tried whatever flower and they gave it to people. When they healed, it was good. When they died, well, bad luck. And I've tried a couple of times to a little bit do the math, and I'm not really good at math, but I tried to just realize how many natural herbs. Just in my country, there's a book of active natural herbs that you can just find throughout history. And it's a really thick book with hundreds and hundreds of herbs. And as you know, sometimes it's the leaf, sometimes the stem, sometimes the roots, sometimes, you understand. So it's not only one plant. It has different kind of agents that work or don't work. So if you just take any kind of disease, heart disease, and look at those thousands of potential healing remedies, just the number that one shaman throughout his lifetime would have to have so many different heart patients to try remotely just some combination to realize what works. So basically, I'm not a good mathematician, but I think if any mathematician would go into it, it could prove without a doubt that the idea of trial and error is totally and absolute bogus nonsense. That there is no mathematical possibility that we have figured out these natural remedies for trial and error. So that's why I asked your opinion about vibrations, because there must be an explanation how shamans from all around the world looked at the people, looked at the natural powers, and then realized what actually helps with healing.
Yes. Energy. Energy has everything to do with everything, and we all can feel it and we do. It's just a rather if you recognize it or not, but it's around us all the time. It's what makes us all survive in this world, and it's on a molecular level, and yeah, it's very important for us to tap into this, I think, because it's a part that I think a lot of us are missing, that needs to be healed in us. It's what heals our traumas. It's what heals these emotions, this mindset, all these crazy thoughts that get in our heads, not just from us, but from the outside influences, the environment that we're in, and the social media. And it's just, we're so overstimulated.
The reason why the reason I'm so happy that you come back, the reason why I keep remembering you from the last conversation is because you said something so amazing in our last interview. You just said you're sitting with the flowers and you let them tell you what they're good for, what they want, when is the right time to pick them, and what are they healing. And I thought, this is something I can believe. Not you read, you must probably have read tons of books about different remedies and so forth, but you more trust your own gut instinct. And I more believe that throughout the history, generation of natural healers who had the gift to connect with these remedies learned from nature and not from books. And that's a concept I think that modern men can just not take. I think they get a nervous breakdown when they think we're not learning from books or from master to apprentice. No, we're just sitting like you with your flowers and they tell you what they can do. And I think people are going to freak out.
But it's a good freak out. It's a very much needed freak out. I mean, that's one that, I think we just need to get our mind blown with because it is so there and around us and just waiting for us to recognize and receive. Because, we don't absolutely have to take something in internally. We get a lot just by sitting there with that flower and sitting with that tree or that plant and, grounding into the earth and connecting to the Mother Nature and just seeing what the rhythms are and what comes to us. And we were meant to be connected to the environment. I mean, we were born to be a part of this earth and part of the water and part of the air. These elements are so important in our life. And I've seen so many people in my time who have had sickness and disease. And I looked at them and I was like, kind of just analyzing their life, because, it's like, oh, well, here, take this and take that and do this. And then it just dawned on me with one specific person I have in mind. He wasn't going outside. He was sitting in front of his computer all day and he was just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I just kept being like, you need to get outside and get in the grass. You need to go and get in the river. And he came over one day and I was like, let's just sit in the yard. Let's just sit in the yard for a little bit. And I kid you not, we weren't there not even 5 minutes and he fell asleep. And I was just like, wow, he is so needing the earth. He is so needing that grounding. He's so needing that connection to nature because that's what it does. It heals us. And it's healed me so many times. And I've had so many messages come through just nature within itself. And that's so beautiful to me because, it's free and it's there. And it's always there and available. And we're always thinking that we have to have all this money to go buy all these things, to take all these things. And that's not necessarily true. That is not necessarily true. There's so much to us just taking the time out to connect with what's around us and move our body. I'm a big, big fan of movement. Like, I don't think anybody should be sitting all day long. I think that's one of the worst things for our body. We need to move. We need to move. And that moves the energy, that shifts things in our body because we don't want this energy to get stuck in us and get stagnant. And that's what's happening. And that's what I love about flower essences is that it helps move that out. It moves that out. It clears things. And so that way you can start anew and begin with something, a clean, fresh start.
I would like I really want to know about the groups that you organize. I'm curious about how this is done, who is coming, if you're going into the forest, if you do foraging, what you're doing. That's what I would like to know. But before you said something, and I'm actually also super interested. I know you're always triggering me, but there's something that a lot on my mind. You said, I think if I heard correctly, that a certain time when you observe also starts to have a certain remedies or that people start have a craving for certain forms of healing, that while the time is progressing, there's certain things that people need. Did I hear this correctly, or I just made it up because it's on my mind?
No, I do believe that. And you did hear that correctly. I'm not sure how I phrased it, but but yes,
But
no.
can you give us an example, like, 10 years ago, this and this flower, people needed so much. Now, these days, more these kind of flowers come into people's need. I guess the wars going on in the world shifted a lot. It was probably before Corona or after Corona. I think that people have different situations or anxiety levels, or there's just different realities within people that might be addressed by flowers. Can you make these connections already?
Well, let's see. Let me give you some examples. Okay, during COVID times, what was interesting and stood out to me was pine. Pine was like just everywhere, and there was this pine. Even like when because it has a flower too in its own unique way. It called to me, and I kept being like, okay, what's up with this pine, and let's look into this a little bit more and see what's going on. Well, I'm not making any claims whatsoever, but there was people that was using pine actually for the spike protein. That was one of the uses for it. But also the flower essence of pine is really useful for helping with guilt and shame. And what was people doing during that time? They were shaming others. If you didn't do what I do, and guilting everybody, saying you're going to kill my grandma if you don't do this, if you don't do that. And I thought that was really interesting. Like, I even on my property had 3 pine trees fall, which I was just like, whoa, that really caught my attention. And so that was me. Now, somebody else may have had something else that came across them, because I cannot talk for everyone. And I just pay attention to my surrounding and what goes on. But like last year, one of the first flowers I saw was Queen Anne's lace. And there was like Queen Anne's lace everywhere. I just kept seeing fields and fields and fields of Queen Anne's lace. And I was like, wow, okay. Everybody's obviously needing to focus more on their third eye and to be able to see things more clearly. And you can look in that on different levels, because if you look at it now, I'm not telling people to do this, but Queen Anne's lace seeds have been used for helping with birth control. And I was thinking, oh, maybe this is a sign that people are needing to look at, maybe a population growth and looking at maybe we need a better alternative to birth control, because I've had so many friends have so many ill effects from that, and I've even had some friends get some breast cancer and so forth. And can't say that it didn't come from that, but I'm not saying that it did, not trying to put anything out there. But these are things that go through my mind, and these are things that I pay attention to. And after the hurricane is what we talked about last time, I was like, what plants are coming up? What's the first thing that's coming up? What survived all this flooding and what's around me? And the plants I have noticed has been mugwort. Mugwort has been a really, really prolific herb that I've been seeing tons of. And Japanese knotweed. And both of these have great, flower essence qualities, but also medicinal qualities that can help everybody to be more present and to help them with their sleep, to help them with their disease. And so it's just, I think it's an individual take on that, because I cannot speak for everybody and what is coming to them and what they're seeing and what's coming up around them. But it is something that I absolutely have been paying attention to for a very long time. And if I don't, I'll have trees fall. It's just that simple. It's like, it's going to get my attention one way or another for me to pay attention to what's going on and what's around me. And I love that.
Tammy, I think it's pretty unique. I don't think a lot of people were sitting in 21st century in front of a camera and just suggesting the idea that nature is not just random, like, or that this is like different birds coming in or different climate or whatever academic explanation would be out there, why one year one plant is coming out more than the other. And most likely a lot of these explanations make a lot of sense. I looked into a lot of these explanations and yes, trees grow comparing to if it was a drought year, then they overgrow, if it's this and that. A lot of things make a lot of sense to me. But what you say makes a hell lot of sense too, that actually nature is responding to our needs and that there is an exchange, there's an inter-exchange, even if it's no way we can prove it with science, but having all of your years of personal observation and the points you make, I think it's very helpful for people to hear this and just to put it in the back of their mind that maybe this is not just as random as we think it is. It's a very powerful statement, to be honest.
I agree. And I was lucky as a child. I mean, my instincts would just tell me in the times of turmoil when I was stressed and, families driving me nuts, I would just go and sit in a field, and just sitting in that field would renew me. And it would bring so much energy back to me. And I didn't know anything about plants or what was growing around me or even about earthing, right? And that's exactly what I was doing. I was earthing and I was meditating. And I had no idea that I was doing that as a child. But that is what always renewed my spirit. I just knew it felt good to me, that it felt right. And I would do that every time when I was stressed. And that was what brought me back. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Again, this simplicity that we just don't really see that's right in front of us. I feel like a lot of times we make things more complicated than they really need to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what I do for a living. But that's a different conversation. Just tell me a bit, because I will have 5 minutes of holiday. So take me with you as a group of tourists in your area, booking with you such an experience, going into are you taking them in the forest? Are they having a little shuffle in their head? Or are you then, making the remedies or just giving lectures or letting them smell and feel? Just give me 5 minutes of holiday and take me with you into the forest.
Well, I offer yoga and herbal excursions. So I guess you're referring to the herbal excursions. And
let's start there.
Yeah, so the herbal excursions. So last month and this month, I was offering spring restoration. And what that is people come to Wood Botanicals Herbal Homestead. And we go around and we look at these plants that are the first ones that present themselves to us, like dandelion, chickweed, cleavers, and I tell people what they're good for, and I identify them, obviously, to them, and then we make some nice remedies out of it. And so the next class that I've got coming up, I usually do a class each month, and I usually do it for 2 months, is a flower essence making class. And so that is where people come to the property. And we're going to talk a little bit about flower essences, but they're going to go and they're going to find a flower that calls to them. And they're going to go and they're going to sit with it. And they're going to see what it says to them without me telling them what it's good for. And see what they can journal and write down. And then I'm going to teach them how to make that flower essence. And then we'll talk more about it after that. So that's the next class coming up. That's June and July when that is happening. And then in July and August, I am doing a canning class because I got to get back to my farm roots. It's going to be a water bath canning, and we're going to just do tomatoes. And then in August and September, we're going to do a fire cider class because I love my granny's medicine. I think that's important medicine to have around, and I have tons of horseradish on my property. And so we're going to go dig some horseradish so they can get that hands-on, get their hands dirty and in the ground and see how to dig roots themselves. And then we're going to come in and we're going to craft a fire cider together. And then, and talk about all the benefits of that.
I don't know if you remember, yeah, I'm such a big canning freak. It's one of my great hobbies. Not only am I a vinegar maker, I make juices and jams and God knows what. It's my big life hobby, that kind of stuff. I would love to be nearer to you, and I would have loved to, because I would really like to be there and sit with the flowers, and I have so much studied, and I have all this ridiculous book knowledge, and how I would fight my knowledge, seeing this flower, knowing in theory what it's supposed to be good for, but then try to shut this all up and actually listen to the flower, what it has to say. I think it would be quite a freak out moment. And do you have some of these reactions with people who actually, is there the more you know, the harder it is, or the more you just come in blank, it's easier? How is your experience with people, and how they react once a flower starts talking to them? Screaming and running out of the room, or how people react with this kind of experience?
Honestly, they're astonished and amazed that they got the download that they did get, because it is usually spot on. It is usually spot on with what exactly that flower essence can give to them. There's a lot that a flower can give anyway. It's not just one thing anyhow. And what I've seen with others is that, for them to be able just to calm their mind and be able to sit presently and just receive these messages is just like the biggest step ever, and I do a little exercise to help everybody shake off the energy and to release what doesn't serve them, because I'm a huge proponent of being really careful of my flower essences, of not touching them. I don't want to touch them. I don't want my energy, in case my energy isn't perfect, right? Even though I do these exercises to shake everything off, clear myself, but I want to go into it and really receive what that flower has, because that flower hasn't been, talking to people and watching the news or whatever. That flower is just with the divine, and it is very present. And so I use chopsticks, to gather my flower essences. I do not touch them. And I know that's not everybody's practice, but that's how I was taught. And I feel like that's a very potent way to receive the messages without any outside influences. And I find that others receive that too.
Talked about it also in the last video, and you know that I agree with you 100%. To keep the energy pure is super important, another quality level. So before we talk about the website, how to order, how this put together, let's now go into yoga and movement and shaking off. And that is new. In our last episode, I cannot remember that we talked a lot about yoga. So is this a newer thing? Did I forget about it? That you've done it forever? And is this a yoga in nature that would sound like you? Or I cannot see you going in some seminar room and doing a yoga retreat. I can see you with rain in the mud, making all the exercises that would sound like you. So tell us a little bit about. And also one thing, you confused me. You said you're looking into the tourists in the area, you're in a very touristic spot, but then the course is going for a couple of weeks. Is it not like a weekend? Is it weekend things, right?
No, it's just a day. It's just a couple hours.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's perfect for tourists who are coming to the area and looking for something to do and to be able to connect. We have a lot of bachelorettes that come here, and they're always, they really love to come and celebrate in Asheville. And I've taught for a company doing yoga for that, and that's kind of what prompted me to do this again, because they didn't pay fairly. But yeah, the yoga has been with me. I've been doing yoga for 28 years now, and absolutely love yoga. I mean, herbalism first got me because of trying to heal myself and my daughter and my family. But yoga came along because my body was hurting me from all the arthritis and stuff, from the pesticides, from the growing up on the farm. But then I realized as I was doing the yoga that it wasn't just for the body, it was for my mind too, and how it would calm my nervous system and how it was helping me be more present. And the more I done the yoga, the more I just fell in love with it because, again, it's something that I can just do at any point and don't have to go and seek out from somebody else, and it's free. Um, and so holds a very special place in my heart, and I absolutely love sharing yoga. And my yoga is pretty unique because I like to focus on meridians. Again, energy work. I'm all about that energy work because I think it's so important for us to be clearing these energy channels in our bodies, and the chakras have everything to do with that. So I do a lot of chakra yoga and meditation as well. But it's strength, we've got to keep our body strong. It's not just about flexibility. It's also about keeping the body strong. So I incorporate all of these things in my yoga practice. And what I'm offering for others is I have a few options. So I do private yoga. And what that is, people come to town, they are staying in their little Airbnb or rental, and I go to them. So they don't have to leave their home or their vacation place. I go to them, I bring the mats and set everything up, and we do a relaxing yoga class. And I can do that on whatever level they want me to. And so that's the private yoga, but I also do chakra yoga, and that's with a chakra meditation at the end if they want that. And they have an option of doing it for an hour and a half. I'll leave that totally available to them because some people want more, some people want less. And any level can do this, beginners or people that's been doing yoga for a long time. But I feel like they would definitely get something out of it because, like I said, the meridian work is very unique. I also offer farm yoga that I'm extremely excited about. I am partnering with a local rescue animal facility that's just not that far from me, actually, called Animal Haven, and they rescue farm animals. And so they've got goats, they've got pigs, they've got cows. They have all these things that they've rescued. And so I go and do yoga there. And then afterwards, after we don't actually do yoga with the animals, we do the yoga in the field. And then afterwards, they get to have their own private viewing before the place even opens of the animals. So I can take them around and introduce them to the blind goat. That is amazing. I just love Jingles is the name, is the blind goat. And then there's also a pig that paints bubbles, which is pretty impressive. So these are really cool animals. And I love being around animals anyway. So this just makes my day to go and do this. It's so much fun. And it's for such a good cause, because I give them money as well. Like we share the profit, this place does. So I also offer yoga hikes. And so people come to here because they want to go hike, but they don't know where to go. Well, I know a very scenic, beautiful place to go. That's about 3 hours, with all in all the hiking and the yoga. But we do yoga on top of a mountain with a really beautiful view. And believe it or not, cows hang out on this mountain too. They're not always there, but sometimes they are. So we have to watch where we set up our mat. And so that is the main step for the yoga. And I didn't mention with the herbal experiences that I also do a pamper hour, which I think is a lot of fun because, especially for somebody getting married, they want to be pampered. They want that relaxation. And what we do is we create a little facial scrub together, and they get to take home some of this facial scrub. And we do a little facial on our face and then do a mask, and then we do a foot bath with some herbal tea. And I do that all within an hour. And then, everybody's nice and relaxed and good for their day. And so I'm just trying to promote relaxation, but also fun with it, which is absolutely wellness. And that's my jam.
I must tell you, I hope I will in future find on your website the option, come to your garden and just sleep. And that's the one I'm going to book. From all the things you have described, I love them all in theory, but just going in your garden and sleeping, honestly, that's the one I would like to book.
I get it. And I do want to, eventually incorporate massage for that reason.
I don't
So
need that. No, just let me sleep for a bit.
I need to keep that in mind, set up a little hammock area or something, and just be like, hey.
That'll be perfect. I pay double. Just
And you
I've got a
would.
wife, got a kid, got a company, got 100,000 things. The idea of being in a hammock, dear Lord.
Oh, and it does. I mean, again, just like my friend, all you got to do is just sit on that earth and then it's like, ooh, you need rest? Oh, that's what you're going to do. Sleep. It's like you're in the poppy field of Wizard of Oz.
Exactly. I'm lucky that I have a bit of a land outside of town where I can go on the weekends and put my hands into the earth. And I'm telling you, I have a lot of companies now who work online, and I spend 10, 12 hours sometimes. It's crazy. And you got lost. You spin at the end of the working shift. So you don't know which day of the week it is because you're just in an endless loop of working. And if I don't just cut off on the weekends and just Saturday, I'm getting up at 5, 6 in the morning, just get to the green, to the fields and cut some trees, do some little bit of digging. And without this, I think I would go mad,
I'm
honestly.
glad you do. I'm so glad you do that for yourself. And I hope, on these days when you're sitting in front of the computer, you can at least get up for a few minutes here and there and do some squats or something, just do some little mindful stretching just to bring your body back into good form, because I know how challenging that is on the body. That sitting.
Let's go to the big subject that I know it's work in progress. I mean, people already have an idea of who you are. We talked about it last time, but I still want to bring it back in because you know that I'm a European, so things are a bit different, but I'm all about supporting farmers, especially not only buying organic things just to make my life better, but as you said, I buy organic because I want that the farmers don't need to work with pesticides, that the families who live on the farm can grow up in a healthy environment. If it's good for me at the end of the circle, wonderful. But I actually much more care for a healthy life for farmers and nature and animals to live there. So that's my number one concern. And we talked about it last time, and I know that you have this big project in the back of your mind, but I think it's good if you really quick tell to the people what is your long-term goal, and people are listening and you never know who's out there. And I think you want to rescue some piece of land.
I do. So I grew up on a dairy tobacco farm, and this farm has been in my family for over 300 years. And so it's a legacy that has bestowed on me that was supposed to be my brother's, but my brother had a tragic death. And so it is on me now. And it took me a while to realize this, but it kind of makes sense considering the connection I have with plants and animals and how I'm just so connected to the earth, because that's my favorite things to do, that I'm the one to take on this stewardship of the farm. And it's a big project because of the pesticides and the bad agriculture that has been used in the past. Not blaming the farmers, because they were definitely trying to do the best they could and definitely had a lot of programming coming to them of how these things are safe, that wasn't safe. But those pesticides did a number on my health, and that's totally why I'm on this path of natural healing, because I've been fixing myself ever since I left the farm, because the pesticides created a lot of issues with me. And so that land, as I spoke of earlier, healed me. There would be so many times I'd just go and sit in the field and sit in the land, and it would just renew my spirit and renew me. And I know that I'm supposed to give back to this property. And I've been trying to figure out exactly what that is and what it is I'm supposed to do. I mean, but it's 100 acres. And 100 acres is a lot of land. And I am one person. And so it is definitely, I'm calling in community, I'm calling in support, because I need help with this property that has gave me so much and been in my family for so long. And I'm determined to do something with it. So that's why I'm starting this business in Asheville. That's agro-tourism is what I'm calling it, to take to the family farm, because these are my passions. And I want to share these passions with others. So I want to teach them how to use herbs, how to grow herbs, how to have all these beautiful flowers and to make these flower essence of them, but I also love, growing food. I love greenhouse work, and I love animals. So I'm definitely going to have me some goats and some chickens and bees. I'm a big fan of bees. So I'm wanting to do that all in the future. And the reason why I started this business in Asheville is because Asheville is the one who has the tourists that come through. And so I'm wanting to build on this business and bring in income so I can take it to the family farm. So I can first build this big barn where I can have events and classes, have a little Airbnb up top, have me a storefront there, have an apothecary in there as well, and then just take it from there, creating gardens and bringing in the community, having events there, maybe weddings, and just working on the land and making it better, rejuvenating it, restoring it. I have some ideas on how to do that. I'm thinking about hemp for textile. Growing hemp for textile, because that pulls up all the poisons and it cleans the land pretty quick. And then that way I can sell that for textile, because I'm a big fan of hemp. I think that is one miraculous plant right there, because there's not any other plant I know that can do what a cannabis plant can do. I mean, it has so much that it can give to us, and it can help save our trees, and I mean, I don't know why it used to be used. That's what's so funny. When I've researched history, especially where my family farm is, hemp was one of the main crops there. They actually planted it with tobacco because they aided each other. They were companion plants. And so, of course, along the way with DuPont and reefer madness and all this craziness, it gave it a really bad insight. And so people looked down on it. But this is a miraculous plant. It truly is. And it's not just about getting you high. It's also about textiles and building houses and clothing you, with the medicine and the food. And there's not many plants that can do all of that in one. So it's something that needs more recognition, and I'm very much drawn to it. And I'm hoping that that's going to grow more here, because in North Carolina, that's not something that's legal here. And it's been back and forth and flip-flopping around, and it's been kind of crazy world with that, honestly. But I have been told that there is some factories coming up that are getting into textile that I'm real excited about, that I'm hoping when the time comes that I'm able to utilize and be able to do that on the working farm. So, yeah, the big goal is to restore it.
Yeah. Let me quickly bounce back. Just a quick bounce back. First of all, bees, very important. There's no way you can do what you do if you don't have your stock of bees, because with all of these chemicals, they are suffering a lot, and it's harder and harder to get bees. So that's a crucial element. So that's very important. And, we are lucky that we still have a quite big hemp production industry in Europe. For clothing, it's still a mainstream thing. Of course, not like cotton, but we have a significant amount of hemp production for clothes. And it's interesting that it's not legal, because we're using, of course, hemp that has no hallucinogen element. So that's just specifically hemp that is just made for the clothing industry. And it's also natural, but you cannot get high on it or whatever. So it shouldn't be any legal issue. But again, as you know, in the production, it's very complicated because of water and so on and so forth. There were reasons why it became unpopular, but now with new technology, it definitely is a perfect material to wear.
It is. It is. And again, it's no other plant.
And linen is another one, and there's other ones as well. If you look into it, it's not only hemp. There's a couple of natural fibers becoming more and more popular and used to be popular. So actually, you can also mix it. You don't need to have one gigantic field of hemp. you have different natural fibers, and the same fabrics usually can work with all of them and create textiles. So it's quite a big thing out there going on in this direction.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Europe and see this. I really would. And I would like to see how they're doing that and what plants they are planting with it. And because I'm a big component of, companion planting. I think that plants love to have their neighbors help them.
But with all of this, what you said sounds such a big thing. I mean, 300 years of history cannot be lost. And I agree with you. The farmers are not to blame for what happened. They're the ones who suffer the most from all of the things that have happened. And not only the economic stress, but also the health stress. It's definitely one-way street, and it didn't work out for a lot of them. And that you want to put it on your shoulders to heal those 80 years of poisoning the ground is definitely a monumentous task. But everyone out there, and you talked about community and ideas and so things, so I guess you would be open and welcome if anyone has ideas or want to be part of it, to reach out and to connect with you, I guess.
Yes, I would. I would be very much open to that. Selective, but open.
Well, of course, one has to put it out there. The universe will listen, and that's the most important, to keep on saying it so the universe knows what to do. I think that's...
Absolutely, and I am definitely calling that in, because I cannot do this all on my own. We do need each other, and that just comes more present in my life all the time, how important it is for us to have one another and be able to share. And, and that's sharing laughter, that's sharing love, that's sharing time together. I mean, I love sharing work with others, and I love sharing play. Like, these things are so important for us to survive. And we are all so divided now, and I would love to see that change and for us all to come back together and put all of our perspectives to the side and our judgment.
Last couple of minutes that we have, I was intrigued. Sorry, we only have a couple of minutes, but I thought it quite daring that you have on your website the possibility to create your own essence. You have quite a lot of, I don't know how many, but it's 100 or something, different essences that you can put together with little explanations. Is this something that people like? I'm always, because, I've done a lot of companies on my own, and I always had a feeling when I offered people final solution and then I offered do it yourself, that not so many people in the end took it, that they were more happy with the already ready-made solutions. So how is this with you? Are you have experiencing the same, that people like the idea but don't know, or how's it going?
It's still new. It's still new. So I guess I'm going to find out more about that. I do have 5 blends that I do offer. So if they didn't want to create their own, they certainly can go with these 5 blends, and they're love, restore, relaxation, focus, and protection. And I feel like those 5 cover a lot. And I also offer spritzers with those. If somebody didn't want to take it internally, they could just spray it around, and I put essential oils in that. So it's uplifting in that way as well. But I do believe that people, because the descriptions are brief, I mean, they can always look into more of what they have to offer. But I wanted to keep it simple, not to be overloading or overwhelming to others. But I do find that people like to be able to create their own, because everybody has their own little specific thing that they're trying to overcome. And being able to create their own, that is for them. And they were the ones who actually initiated that. So they were a part of that medicine. They were the part of that making. And I do think that we all have to take that responsibility and that step to take care of ourselves. And so I like being able to offer that to others. And it's not something that many people do. In fact, I've not seen but maybe one company out there that offers that. And so I find it very unique. And again, I use what grows around me. I'm not trying to go and do something that, I don't have my hands on myself. and not had that experience with. And especially people who are familiar with these plants, they might even have them in their yard because I use a lot of weeds, and they could just go sit with that weed and be like, hey, do I need you? and sit with it and see what it says to them. So this is just all, again, me planting seeds in the world of trying to bring more recognition of the fact of how we have this ability to heal ourselves, that we have been given everything that we need to heal ourselves, and that we don't have to necessarily think that somebody else is going to do it for us, because we have that ability. And I'm just offering these seeds and these examples and trying to put it out there because I think everybody needs a little help right now with that emotions and that mental state to clear this, conditions that we've been opposed upon for so long, and be able to shake it all off and start anew.
This was a unique conversation. Again, I did not expect anything different. First of all, you told the people they have it in their own hand, the healing, and they can, to some extent, take control of their health by shaking things off, going and sleeping in your garden and listening what the weed has to say, and maybe being shocked that it might talk back and actually tell you something. And also, I think another point that you made that will stay in my mind for a long time, that maybe it's not random if one year some flowers blooming more than others, that this maybe is a message from nature that they know what we actually need and they're here to help us and provide us. All we have to do is pick them up and understand. And I think this I will not forget for a very long time, and I will be seeing the nature around me and now with a different eye. I'm thinking, is this a message? Are you just here because you're here, or are you here because you want to tell me something? And the calling of your big project, on and on. I think this was a fantastic conversation that gives people an understanding that if we just learn to listen, that's what I take from the conversation with you. If we learn to listen, learn a little bit, shaking it loose, that there is a path. All we have to do is just, listen. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I'm so grateful, and I really appreciate this time. And check it out. Appalachia Feel Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.